Welcome to Advanblack's YouTube channel. I'm Steve, service technician for Advanblack, and today we've got a bunch of brand new carbon fiber parts for you, and we're going to be installing them on the Softail back here. We've got 5 brand new carbon fiber parts for the Softail lineup. Today we're going to be installing 4 of those. We've got the carbon fiber outer fairing, the carbon fiber dash, the carbon fiber battery covers. We also have a carbon fiber front and rear fender. Today we're going to be installing 4 of those. We're not going to be installing the carbon fiber dash because it doesn't fit on this year model bike. We'll put all of the fitment information down in the description below, and you can also click on the links that I will provide down there as well. It'll take you over to the website. Make sure to check the fitment and the years on your bike. I'm going to bring you over here to the table and show you what we're going to be installing today. First up on the table here is the carbon fiber ST outer fairing. This is an exact replica of the ST outer fairing that we already have on the website that you can get color matched, but of course on the inside here you can see this is actually carbon fiber. Next thing we have here is the carbon fiber front fender. What's really good about the carbon fiber is it's super lightweight but super sturdy as well. Then moving back from there, we will be replacing the battery covers on each side of the bike. Both of these are carbon fiber as well. And to finish up the build today, we will be installing the rear fender as well. You can see that this is already pre-drilled for everything that's already on your OEM fender, so all you have to do is take that hardware off and get it installed on the new one. Today I'm going to walk you through the installation of every one of these pieces. Like I said, we won't be doing the tank dash on this bike because this is an older model, Lowrider S, and it doesn't fit this bike. So make sure to check the fitment on these parts like I said before. So we're going to start up here with the easy stuff. We're going to remove the front fender. You've got 2 Torx 27 bolts on each sides of the fender. Go ahead and remove those. Just pull the fender out forward. We're going to go ahead and put a little drop of blue Loctite right back on those bolts. Put our fender up into place and replace those 4 bolts. You're going to torque those 4 bolts to 16 foot-pounds. Now the side covers are easy to get off. You've got a bolt here and a couple of rubber grommets right here that pushes forward after you take this bolt out. If you have the mid-frame air deflectors, it will be pretty close to that. So we're going to go ahead and we've pulled the seat and we're going to remove this tank bolt right here so we can slide this off and get this off. Take our 5/32 out and remove this bolt. And then this has the 2 rubber grommets in it, so we're just going to pop that off. You can see those right there. On the inside of our carbon fiber one, we're going to push these right back into place so they go like this. So the hole faces those 2 nipples. We're going to push those through. You can use a little pair of pliers to grab the back side and get those pulled through. We're going to slide that on, push it onto the nipples, get our 5/32 back up into place. But we got 2 more of those bolts over here. This one just has 1 nipple in the front, so we're going to pull that out. You can see that there. Get our new rubber piece out of our hardware. Same thing on this side. Pop that front piece on. Really easy. 2 bolts go back in. You're going to torque these 3 total bolts, these 2 on this side and 1 on the other side, to 24 inch-pounds. Now from here we're going to go ahead and do the rear fender. Now this bike already has the whole shot bags on it from Advanblack. You can get color matched for the Softail. So I've taken the bags off of the bike, but I've left the saddlebag rails on here just to show you if you do have saddlebags, you don't really completely have to take all that off. But these 2 bolts right here go into metal plates inside the fender right here. It goes through the fender strut and into the fender. And we've replaced those with these for the quick detach for the tour pack as well. So basically that's kind of what's holding your fender on. The wiring for the rear end is super easy. It's right here underneath the seat. We're just going to disconnect these. You can't mess this up. Just disconnect them and then that is ready to pull off. These bolts here are going to be different than your OEM bolts, so I'm not going to bother telling you sizes and stuff like that. Just go out to your bike and see what size you have. 4 bolts out on both sides. We've let this come down just to show you didn't have to take a saddlebag bracket off. This will pivot on there. We've done that on both sides. We're going to let this come down out of the way. Now there's 2 bolts still left inside the fender, basically right there. You can reach your hand up in there and feel it. It's a bolt going this way into the fender strut. So we want to pull these 2 bolts here on both sides. Then the strut, the fender, and everything will come off the bike. Now, if we pull these 2 fender struts apart, this whole thing will come off. So if we flip this fender over, right on here on the inside, we've got these metal plates, 1 on each side. We're going to take those off. Start right up here with the seat screw. This is just a little black plastic clip that goes on here. And you can take your thumbnail, usually push that off. The seat nut will drop out from the inside. So we've got that off. You've got another one here for a solo seat. Get off. Let that one fall through. Right here on the inside are those 2 bolts that I was talking about a while ago that keep the fender strut on the fender. So we're going to remove those. And the reason why I took these 4 bolts out while it was on the bike is because it's attached to the bike. And you can put a lot of torque on it to get them off. When you're doing it like this on the table, you'll find yourself that the fender is moving on you, so you got to hang on to it. And if you had to do that with all 6 of them, it's just easier to do it while it's on the bike. So we've taken the 4 screws out for our license plate to get to the 3 bolts back here. We're going to get these 3 bolts out. Go ahead and pull the rubber piece off, set it to the side. 2 Phillips head screws, 1 on each side of the tail light. Go ahead and pull it out. This one here we can pinch and pull out. The one on the right, you can pinch and pull out. The one on the left, these 2 here, I have to use a little screwdriver. These are going to be your turn signals. Push down on the little tab. Pull it out. Same thing on this side. Pull it out. And the tail light's off. 1 big Phillips head bolt right in the middle. Now the way that this is installed is just slid down on here. And on the inside, you see this piece right here at the bottom. It's just kind of setting over that hole. So we can flip this over and we just kind of want to pull up. Just like that, and that'll come off. Now this wire harness is stuck to the inside of this. We're going to go ahead and pull this off. Go ahead and take this clip off right here for our nut. We will need that again. Pry up on the outside and just push that off of the hole. Just like that. The only thing left, we have these 2 little black plastic plugs right here. You can see them on the outside right here. Take our flathead screwdriver again. We're going to push those tabs in just a little bit and pop those out. They pop out real easy, just like that. We're going to put those back in the new fender. Now from here, I'm going to wipe all this stuff down, get my hands cleaned up, and get ready to build our new fender. Now we have all of our parts cleaned up, ready to put on our new fender. So we're just basically going to reverse the order and put everything back together. Going to snap our little plastic caps back into place. Our seat nuts go up on the inside. Clips back on. We're going to take our speed nut, make sure the nut is facing in here because the bolt goes from the outside back this way. So we're going to slip this back on into place. Take this piece, we got that groove in the bottom that sets on this groove right here. So we're going to slide this into place. Snug that down. Now the little rubber triangle that sets on the back side of this to keep that metal off of the fender. We're going to put the first bolt through the top. Go ahead and set it on there. Reach in, get the nut started from the bottom. And we'll just do that to all 3. Get our wire harness poked up through the inside. Go ahead and get this one plugged in. So your OEM harness has this rubber padded thing on there, and it won't fit into our new clips, and it probably won't stick back on there again unless you use some kind of epoxy or something like that. Or you can just simply cut this off. You can see it just kind of sits in there freely. So we can take a pair of scissors and just cut this rubber thing off. And on the inside of the fender, we have these clips that this wire will go into. I'm going to put this back up into place. These are our Phillips screws. Are our two fender bolts that hold our struts onto the side, and this is the part where you want to be real careful that you get it laid up on here and you don't scratch the fender. Get this up into place. I'm just going to mount up here in this hole. You want to make sure that those are snug down pretty good, because you don't want to be carrying this over and then this slip up and scratch the side of your fender. Now this fender is ready to put back on the bike. We're going to make sure that the wire harness is up front. We're going to slide this between or over the saddlebag rails there. We'll get one side on in place and pop that into place. I've already got blue Loctite on our fender bolts. Saddlebag bracket up into place. You'll notice with these it's offset. It's a difference between the bolts here. So the bolts are offset on the plate. The long end goes out the back. Of course, we're going to sneak this in. We're going to pop this through the fender and into these holes. So you may have to make an adjustment once you get it up in here. You can kind of see it in there. Right there. And right there. Hold that in place. Bring your saddlebag rail up. Blue Loctite already on our bolts. We're going to go ahead and get those started. It's important to make sure that this plate in here is pushed all the way into the fender. A lot of times it can catch the edge or catch the edge of the strut, and you're tightening this down and you're not completely in the hole. While you're pushing on this out here, that metal plate is flexing on the inside as well. So we want to make sure to put our hand in there, push it in, and then also tighten it at the same time. So we make sure it stays seated in that hole. Same thing on this side. We're going to pull this back up into place. Get our bolts, make sure to hold that plate. We're going to torque these 42 to 46 foot-pounds. I'm going to torque these 21 to 27 foot-pounds. There's one other thing I need to mention too as well. If you do have your turn signals back here, it's just a nut on the inside that holds this turn signal on, and then your wires. This bike has had the turn signals eliminated for the saddlebags, and the turn signals are now inside the tail light. It's very easy. There'll just be a nut on the inside that holds that turn signal on. So very easy to do even if you have those. One last thing we need to do is pull our wire harness up here and get all of this stuff plugged back in. So we've got this one here. Poke these in, listen for the click, make sure they are connected. Then we'll just simply zip tie this back down here and get our seat and our saddlebags put back on. So we're going to start with the ST outer fairing, but because this bike has the lower fairings on it, we will have to release this top bolt inside here and let this pull away so we can actually get this off. So we're just going to get in here with a 10mm and loosen this bolt up. And once we have that loose, you can see that this will pull away, so it'll make this a lot easier to change. Now everything that I do to this side of the bike, I'm going to have to do to the other side of the bike as well, and to save a little. Now everything that I do to this side of the bike, I have to do to that side of the bike as well. So to save a little bit of time in this video, I'm just going to show you the one side when we're doing this stuff, but repeat that process on the other side. We got a little wing right here with a Torx 25 in here. We're going to remove that. We got those same Torx 25 bolts here and here and on the other side as well. So we're going to get those removed. After you take the bottom one out, just go ahead and loosen the top one, get it most of the way out. Do that on both sides. Those two screws that you're leaving in, partially in, those are what's holding the fairing on at this point. Then we'll move around here and take the windshield off. Now all we have left is the 5/32 bolt holding the windshield on. All we have left to do is hold the front of the fairing, finish taking out those two Torx 25 bolts. Now we can start to pull this fairing forward. And we're going to make sure that we pull out on those lower fairings a little bit until it clears. Reach in, disconnect our headlight. Take the fairing off. There's one thing I want to mention real quick. When we originally did the ST video, it was on this bike and it had the original headlight bracket that we were using, and I want to bring this to your attention real quick because I do get a lot of calls on this. This is the old headlight bracket and this is the new one. So when you watch that video and you see that headlight bracket and then you receive this one, it creates a little bit of confusion. But in the Street Bob video, I showed you how to take that old one out and put the new one in. And since this was the original one, we have to do the same thing with this one as well. So it's just 4 screws that hold this headlight bracket in there. And then we can just pull this away from the fairing, and there's our assembly. The only other things that we need from this fairing are the actual clips right here that the bolts go onto that hold it together. So if I get this up in the camera where you can see it, you can see this little piece right there that hangs down. It's going to be bent down in here and keep you from pulling that out. So all you have to do is just get under it, pull it up, and then also push it off at the same time. And we do have 3 of these on each side. Now we have 2 more. Now we have 2 more of those spring clips right up here. We got one here and one here. And the way to access those is actually through the front. That's why on your new fairing you'll have to install the rubber. So after we install the speed clips later, or the spring clips, whatever you want to call them, after we do that later, we'll put the rubber back on. So if you don't want to damage your paint, get you a little plastic pry tool like this, and we're just going to peel this up and away because we need those clips. We have another one on this side. So if you have one of the original ST fairings and you've got that old style headlight bracket, just go ahead and pull the 4 screws out, take it out, and get your headlight out of it. This is the new headlight bracket. This was designed to fit a lot more of the LED headlights that are on the market. Now this ring here would be installed on the inside of the ST fairing. Go ahead and take these 4 bolts out and remove it. It's easier to build this on the table and then take the whole assembly and mount it back in the fairing with those 4 bolts. Now the new headlight bracket has 2 pieces like this. This is going to go in here. The ring is going to go over the top and sandwich it together, and then we're going to connect this whole system to that. What you need to watch out for is when you're placing your headlight and you have your up and your down on your headlight. Like the Harley one has a logo in the middle so you can see what side is up and what side's down. Now on the back side of these headlights they have a position tab, right? So there's a position tab right there on the side of that headlight. It's just a little tooth that sticks out. Inside the bracket there's a couple of different position tabs located in here for different headlights. So what we want to do is make sure that when we put this in here, that position tab falls out in one of those spaces and is correct, right? The logo is up. So we're going to put this in right there on the side. That fell right into that position tab. Now that'll come into play also here in just a second. We're going to go ahead and mount our ring and get our 3 screws in. I put a little blue Loctite on these screws. You do get a lot of vibration in the front of your bike. If you ever want to change your headlight, blue is easy to break free, but it won't let the screw back out just riding down the road. We're going to go ahead and run these screws down all the way. When you're looking at this bracket, this part here with the notch in it, this is up. So we want to make sure that we put the top of the headlight in up here, because this will mount either way, right? So we're going to set this back into place. Pull our bracket up in here. Inside your hardware, you'll have 4 screws, 2 for each side. So your top bolt's going to be your pivot bolt, and you can see this bottom hole right here is notched, and that allows you to put that bolt in, but also pivot the headlight up and down. You should not have to pivot it up and down more than what that slot allows you to do. Right now, I'm just going to put it fairly straight and bump it up just a tad, because I know that's right about where it's going to need to go, just from installing these in the past. I'll go ahead and tighten these down just by hand for right now, so that doesn't move on me. A little dab of blue Loctite on the 4 bolts that go back in here. This is marked front, so we're going to take this. Remember, this part here goes up, and we'll go ahead and get this installed. We've got our beauty ring that goes on the outside. You can see it's got 3 clips. This may still be on your fairing right now, and that's okay. You don't have to take it off. This is going to set in here. You're going to put this in until those teeth fall into their respective holes, and then we're just going to grab the outside of it and give it a twist, and we're going to lock it in place just like that. So all we have from here are our 6 speed clips that go back on. So I'm just going to pop these back on, make sure they're lined up over the hole. Now we have our 2 on the front that we took out. You want to make sure you get all that old tape off. So we got the headlight connected. We're going to put this up into place, making sure all of our wires, if you have the lower fairings and you have the lights on it, make sure your wires are tucked in. If you have your wing installed, go ahead and reinstall that. Now we got everything tightened up on the fairing. What we want to do is get some rubbing alcohol like this, and we want to clean this entire area before we put that sticky rubber pad on there. Make sure to get all of our fingerprints, oils, anything like that off of it. Now the way I install these to make sure we get everything straight is just peel that bottom piece off from around the vent. Just go ahead and tear it off and get it out of the way. We're going to set this up into place. I'm going to double check before we peel the tape that we're squared up good on the other holes, and stick this bottom. I'll go ahead and peel this side. We'll put this up into place up here. Now we're ready to put our windshield back on. So if you have the lower fairings, make sure to put the 2 bolts back in on the inside here. super easy install on all this stuff. We got the rear fender on, the side covers, the front fender, and of course the ST outer fairing. But don't forget, we also have the tank dash. Now, we didn't do that today because it's not available for this model. This is a 2020 and it is for a 22 and newer. So make sure to check the fitment before you order. I'll put links down in the description below to all of these parts. So if you want to get your hands on these, click that link. It'll take you straight over to the website where you can order. If you have any questions on any of this, leave it in the comment section down below. I'll try to help you the best I can. I'm going to get out of here, get myself back to work. I hope to see you in the next video. But until then, as always, be safe. Keep your knees in the breeze.